Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for being here. Today I want to talk about vision. Vision for your business, vision for whatever it is that you want to achieve, and the impact of it, why you should have it, and even more importantly, how you can use it to achieve the outcomes that you want to achieve. So the reason that we're getting very specific today is because I got some very useful feedback from people saying, Rebecca, it's too fluff. There's too much, you're just saying things and we don't actually connect always with what you're saying. And that's a great reminder that I'm inside my own head and it's very easy for me to understand what I'm saying, not necessarily for other people. So we're getting very specific, giving examples. I was also reminded that I do work with corporates and business owners, entrepreneurs. So let's make the content more specific to entrepreneurship and business. Feedback received. Thank you so much. If you have more feedback, I would love to hear what you have to share. Anyways, the vision is one of the first things I always work with people on, no matter what it is that they want to achieve. Let's start visualizing what does it look like when whatever it is that you're trying to do through your business has come true. What does that actually look like? And here, I'm not talking about writing out a vision and then putting it on your website so that partners or potential clients who want to learn about you can go to your website and see what your vision is. That's not the one that I'm talking about. That one is very often used as a checkbox exercise. We need to have a vision written somewhere. Great. There's nothing wrong with having that at all. It is just that most businesses don't actually pay attention to what is this supposed to mean for people. What is this supposed to mean for your potential partners, for your potential clients, for your employees, your future employees? How are they supposed to connect to this vision? So whatever it is that you want to achieve, why should they care? Your vision is a great way for you to connect with the people that you want to be in your space. So partners, employees, clients. You want to be able to communicate your vision in a way that people think, I want to be part of that. That sounds amazing. I too have a dream that our country or our city or the world looks like this in the future. I too want that to happen. And that is an emotional response. Most visions, when it comes to business, most visions are incredibly rational. It speaks to the head. It speaks to the reader just sitting there and thinking things. It very rarely speaks to a reader that wants to feel things. And anything that we don't feel isn't memorable. We're not going to remember anyone's vision if it didn't make us feel something. So how can you talk about your vision in a way that emotionally connects with people? One thing to understand is that whatever you do in your vision, whatever you do in your business, including your vision, is basically a sales tool. Everything is sales. Everything is sales. I had a discussion the other day with someone who was working on a proposal to have the employees go and attend a gym. And they were so focused on price, they just wanted to find the cheapest gym. And I was thinking, what kind of gym do you want your employees to meet your clients in? If you're trying to position yourself as a high-end business, or at least not a low-end business, why would you send your employees to low-end places? Why would you send your employees somewhere where it's very obvious that the decision was made through cutting costs by being as cheap as possible? If you want to come across as a high-end business, you should want your employees to come across as high-end people. Because what kind of clients who consider themselves high-end is going to want to sit across from the table from someone who doesn't have a high-end vibe? And then you might say, oh, but my high-end clients would never meet my employees in the low-end gym because they don't go to the low-end gym. Okay, but you're still putting your employees into the energy and the vibe of a low-end person, right? a low-end consumer. How can you have low-end consumers as employees and then asking them to sell to high-end clients? They will never speak the same language. So everything you do in your business is sales. It's a reflection of who you are as a business. Now, that's not to say that you can't be a low-end business. You can or mid-level business. You can very, very well be selling to the greater market. In that sense, it would be great for your employees to meet somebody in a lower priced gym, because now they're speaking the same language. Now they're going to go and meet each other. So what kind of vision do you have that creates that emotional connection? So go back and look at, what is it? What change do you want to see in the world, in your city, in your country, wherever your geography is? What kind of change do you want to see? And how do you want to have an impact on that? And why is it important? And here very often we have a story come in. For example, for me, my vision is about helping business people, so leaders and entrepreneurs, have successful, joyful lives. I don't want to see people that I work with feeling miserable. Why? Because I spent most of my life being miserable. And it was the change that I had from being miserable to being happy is the most important change I've experienced in my life. Waking up every day feeling amazing, feeling happy, feeling joyful, instead of coming home every day crying. You can't put, I don't have the words to describe how important that is and what an impact that does to someone's life. And how everything else in your life aligns. Now that you're feeling good, you attract other people who feel good, you have better friendships. You attract other partners that feel good, you have better partnerships, you have better relationships, you have a better health because you're treating yourself better, you sleep better, you just enjoy life more. And even your business becomes more successful because you don't show up drained all the time. You don't show up with that energy of just being depleted, depressed, and exhausted. Everything changes when you start to feel good. And I would never want to work with someone that is not concerned about happy employees, joyful employees. I would never want to work with someone if they have zero interest in having a happy and fulfilled workforce. They just want the check boxes, and you know what? That's just not for me. Those people are not part of my vision. My vision is about merging success and joy. I see those as, and a lot of people are like, oh, you can't have both. You can, in my world, you can only have both. It is, as I see it, not possible to be successful if you're also miserable. And it is, even though it is definitely possible to become successful while you're miserable, it is very unlikely to be sustainable. That recipe leads to burnout. It leads to overflow of stress. It leads to disease. It leads to so many things. So my vision is about merging those two, because joy and happiness and fulfillment and a good life, a happy, joyful, elevated life, is something that I managed to create, and I want everyone to be able to feel that happiness. That is a core value for me. It is extremely important for me that people feel good. So that's part of my vision, because I know the pain of not having it. I know how painful it was to struggle with myself. I know how painful it was to see myself as my cage. I couldn't get out of this body, and it pained me because I was constantly depressed, and I had negative self-image, and I had body image issues, and I was treating myself like crap because I didn't feel any deserving of a good health, of a good job, of a loving relationship. And I know the impact that had not only on my life, but the people around me. Because everything flows, right? if you are in this identity of just depression and hurt and sadness and stress, then that is what you're spreading out into the world. And this is not to come and say, oh, I'm going to blame people who feel bad about feeling bad. No, it's to explain how important it is to fix that. To not create a life that feeds into more depression and more stress and more unfulfillment, but figuring out a way to do it in a way that's joyful and peaceful and where you feel energized and fulfilled by the work that you do, and finding solutions where we remodel things accordingly. If you're spending 90% of your time doing things that you hate doing, guess what? We're gonna have to restructure some things, right? So I don't know if it's still kind of fluffy. My vision is just gonna be a little bit fluffy, okay? Because that's just part of who I am. Identity work is part of who I am. It's everything that I do is about unshackling, releasing, detangling everything here so that we can just feel amazing and have a positive impact on the world and to spread that further and further out into the world. That is so important to me. So what is it that's so important to you? Why is it that you do what you do? What is the story behind it? What is it that you decided one day, I need to solve this problem because it's not being solved well enough? What is it that gets you up in the morning thinking, my work is important? I have to do this because if I don't do this, some clients out there are going to suffer because they don't get our service. What is it that you want to achieve? And make that vision so clear. What is the impact you want to see in the world? And how are you going to feed into that impact? What is going to be your imprint on that impact? And then start figuring out, okay, so how do we do this? What does success look like? Put down criteria. I know that I've made this impact that I want to make once this and this and this and this has happened. Those are your goals. Those are your high-level goals. Now you break those goals into smaller goals. I know that this goal has been achieved when this and this and this and this happens. And then eventually you break it into input goals. These are the outputs. This is something that has happened as a result of what we're going to do. Now, what are the input goals? That is, what are you going to be doing? What kind of tasks are you going to be doing? What kind of person are you going to be? What kind of partnerships are you going to foster? What kind of identity are you going to be showing up as? I know we're getting fluffy again. But who you are is the greatest input to the impact you're going to have. Whether you see you as being you as an individual or you as the business is going to have that impact. So what kind of integrity, like what are your values? And I'm not talking here about the values that you put on the website as a checkbox exercise. I'm talking about what are your non-negotiables. If someone does not fill this in terms of my values, then they are not going to partner with my business. I'm not going to be accepting loans from people who fulfill these not okay values, right? These things that do not align with my values are not going to be part of my business. And there's a lot of people out there who are going to be like, oh no, money is more important than any of that. And that's totally fine. You can go find another coach. There are probably lots of coaches who would love to work with you. That's not going to be me. Because for me, money is important, but there are other things that are even more important. And money has no scarcity, which means that if I say no to this coming in here, if I say no to this payment because it is not aligned with my values, there are other payments to get. I don't have to get this one because that doesn't align with what is important to me. So figure out, now I'm getting fluffy again out there. I'm so sorry. Figure out what your values are. Figure out what are your non-negotiables. Figure out what kind of person are you going to show up as. And here especially when it comes to integrity, figure out how do I make sure that whenever I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do that thing. Figure out how am I going to build so deep trust with the people around me that they know that my word is to be trusted. They know that when I say I'm going to do something, if I agree to something, it's going to get done. Instead of just saying, oh yeah, let's do that, and then it never happens. We can totally do that, and then it never happens. Oh, definitely. And then you send the email the day after. Oh, no, that can't actually be done. Right? How do you make sure that you have so much attention to the words that you're sharing with people that you know that when you say you're going to do something, you can do it. And if someone wants you to agree to something and you're not 100% sure it can actually be done, you say, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. That's one type of integrity value to have, right? What are your other values? What is important? I used to work with a bank that had criterias in terms of not investing in businesses that were related to oil and weapons, stuff like that. And by the time I left that bank, they were developing a new one where they wouldn't even loan money to organizations that invested in weapons, oil. They had like a long list, right? And that's one of the reasons I loved working there. Because I thought it's so cool that you're taking a stance on this. And I feel so aligned with the stance that you're taking. And yes, this is going to reject a lot of people, but the people who care about this are going to be so attracted to it. So what are your values? What is it that you know that when someone else has the same value, you're an immediate match? Then it no longer has anything to do with having the lowest prices or trying to, cater the market in some of these traditional ways that are not really sustainable for business. Get your values really, really straight. That is another element of sales. And don't do it just to sell. Do it to make sure that you know that you have integrity in your business and you know that you're going to work for this business because it is a passion. It is in your heart, not just about selling. Sales is important too. So, yeah, I'm going to finish for today. I feel like I have been babbling a little bit and I'm sorry if it's... I'm sorry if that's happened. I hope I'm getting a little bit more specific. I'm still practicing. Getting examples, getting the boxes, putting more specific examples to what I'm communicating. Yeah. Thank you all so much. I hope you're having a beautiful day and I appreciate you. If you have any questions, any comments, any suggestions for future topics, listen, it is so much easier for me to create content that people actually want to listen to if you tell me what you want to listen to. Yeah, it helps me so much. I really appreciate you and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.